to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life, truly on your own terms, beloveds. Remember, we are in a mental marathon, which might as well be a mental warfare, and only the fittest of the fittest of the fittest mentally shall survive. And so, as much as you're working on staying prayed up, as much as you're stocking up on food and water and all these things and preparing for Biden's dark winter, as much as you're, trying to level up and work on your spirituality so that you can, have the necessary armor and ammunition to survive the seasons and times ahead, that mental fitness is so critical at such a time as this. And you'll find that if your mental fitness is what it is, everything else will align itself. Your physical fitness will get into place. There's people who are so spiritually powerful that they literally stay, they work out in their dreams. It's gonna sound crazy, but there's even a science that shows that if you are in a certain state, I think they call it the REM sleep or whatever, that if you're in a certain meditative state and or dream, part of your dream cycle, and you dream of yourself working out or racing or doing something or fighting taekwondo, that your body actually believes that you've done that on the physical. And that's the level, we've entered the mental new world. And they know that we are going to be able to naturally push our minds to many incredible levels. And the enemies of our souls want to do that through their science and through their technology. And there are athletes right now who part of their exercise is that mental exercise where they see themselves racing, like in a video game, etc., in a certain state. They dream of themselves, running, and that maintains their fitness. I mean, right now it may sound absolutely crazy to some, but that's the power of the mind that is revealing itself right now, which is like Babylon is doing everything to shut down the mind. But those are stories for the day. Special shout out to our, spiritual family. We appreciate you so much. Thanks to every single person that subscribed to the channel and that likes and shares the videos. It's so important to us. And a special shout out to everyone that supports us on Patreon. We really do appreciate, love you so much. And remember, ask Dr. Mumbi. You can always email me, drmumbi@drmumbishow.com. I've been getting various emails from people which talk about stagnancy, how people are feeling stagnant in their lives, in their careers, or they feel like they're doing the spiritual work, but they can't seem to get out of Babylon. They can, either by leaving the Babylon countries they're in and relocating to the motherland, which some people want to do, or relocating to the rural areas. They find themselves totally tied into the wage slave system where they can't move into independence. So a lot of people, they've been doing their affirmations, they've been doing their various rituals, and they're not seeing any manifestation of their new world. So I've been getting your emails, beloveds, and I hear you. I really, really do feel that vibe. And what you need to recognize about stagnancy is not to allow it to frustrate you or get you emotional or get you into a negative vibe. Because stagnancy just basically means that you are stuck between two narratives. There's a narrative that you've been pumping and recycling in your system, a certain story that you've been pumping and recycling in your system that you no longer want to be a part of. But you've put so much energy into that, like you've created years of this experience. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I don't want to live this. I don't want to be a wage slave. I don't want to live in the Babylon system in this world. I don't want to be this material. I don't want this dynamic of my experience to look like, my life to be like this, basically, long story short. And so you are now trying to create an option for yourself. And maybe even in this world, you are unhappy in this story or narrative. It doesn't matter if you were rich or poor, if you were happy or not, if you were found yourself like you felt like people were manipulating your situation. They were manipulating your mind to create that experience for you, to create that, made that as your main narrative. And so to have that, there were so many barriers, and you were like literally in a mental prison where that was what you kept creating the worst for yourself, when really you're also the one who can only create the best for yourself. Like no one can do that. We are the creators of our experience. And some are here to create bigger experiences than others. And so you've created this narrative and supported it and fed it with your energy, with your anxiety, with your tears, with your pain for so long. And now you're like, you know what, this isn't my story. I want to create this story. And so you've started now to seed here. But the harvest is still going on here. And it's a harvest that is not pretty. It's not a harvest that you want for yourself. But you need to recognize that that stagnancy means you're in between narratives. You're trying to leave a narrative that you've created so, for so long that it actually has a stronghold on you. And you're at the same time seeding a new narrative. And if we know how planting works, that's how Mama Nature works. You seed and then you reap. Babylon has tried to make it seem like we seed and reap right there and then, although on a side note, like we are in an accelerated world and an accelerated experience. So that means we're seeding and reaping at a much faster level than before. But you see, the frustration and the stagnancy, that feeling of I'm stuck, comes in because you're here, where your story is here, one story is here, the old story is here, the new story is here, and you're here. And there's a lot that's happening here. But a lot of what's happening in this bridge between your old self and your new self, your old story and your new story, your old narrative and your new narrative, has to do with fixing what's behind the scenes, fixing the programming, fixing the story, fixing the narrative as you see this new story. And so as you're doing that, it takes time. But this will try and make it seem like you're stagnant, you're stuck. So you need to go back here so you can flow again. But if you're patient and you start to see your life as a spiritual being having a human experience, and it's not easy, by the way, beloveds, it's absolutely not easy. But if you start to see your life from that angle, then it will give you the patience and the endurance to understand that you're in between narratives and that you must wait. It's like you hate your old house, but you're at the same time, the spiritual team is building your new house. And you keep going to your new house when it's not ready, so it can't support you when the foundation hasn't dried. So it can't support you. So you feel like, and then your old house is pulling you back because it's the point of shelter, it's the point of habitual thinking, it's what you know. And so you feel stagnant because the new isn't here yet, and the old is just like, just come back to me, it will be so much simpler. But the easy way is not the best way. Let's take a short break.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki, and thank you so much for all of you who support us in the comments below, for all the likes and for all the shares, beloveds. Let me not talk about the negative. Let me just stay on topic. This is a segment that we started where if you have any kind of spiritual questions that you can, you can always email us, and we usually take the one, the one with the most commonest of themes. And the theme that has been coming out through the energy that has been coming through this email is frustration because of stagnancy. Many people feel that they've decided, they've mentally created, they've said, they've mentally created a new world for themselves, and yet it's not manifesting. And I think Babylon has lied to us, has told us a great big lie about how we seed and how our seeds become a harvest. They try and make it seem that you have to do things materially, when actually it's all about the spiritual and the mental and the meditation of things. That's how you change your life, by changing what's going on the inside. And my advice to those who feel stagnant is keep seeding your new world. Keep seeding your new world, because stagnancy is all the devil, as they like to say. But stagnancy is an energy that tries to pull you back to the familiar, because you see, what many of you are doing is you're venturing mentally and spiritually into a new world. This is the first time that you're using your creative power to transform your experience in a twinkle of an eye, and it will happen fast. But don't put a timeline on things, because the manifestation of your new world is going to happen through your own your own spirit, your own energy. There's a way you're vibrating high, and then you're putting that energy into your new experience, and it will reach a certain point where that energy has built up enough that it can now manifest as a physical thing. That's why we continuously, chant for something, pray for something. And there's certain things. And the reason we chant and pray for those things in particular is because there's a part of our minds that doesn't believe we're creators. And so there's a part of our minds that we have that acts as almost barriers or obstacles that we have to overcome. And that's what delays a thing from coming into our lives. Because there's certain things you'll think about where you're not as emotionally attached to the possibility of a negative outcome. And so that thing will just manifest much more quickly, almost to your surprise, almost effortlessly, as they like to put it. And that has to do with the inner thing. So as you're figuring out your powers and how your energy works as an individual creator of your experience, you need to learn to give yourself time, beloveds, to be patient. And in those moments where you're being patient, don't return to the old world. Continue to disconnect from the old world. And you see, the old world has created so many mental traps and barriers inside of you that will almost make you pull yourself back into the old you. Because they've made fear and anxiety like a major programming in us. And the whole material game a major programming. And you see, what many don't understand about the fiat system and the money system and how Babylon's material world operates, but are seeing it now, is that Babylon only supports you if you're supporting them. The minute you're not for Babylon, if you don't go above Babylon and create your own world, you can't be against Babylon within Babylon and live a good life. They make it let me say, there are those who can do it, who have the spiritual power to do it, but it makes it extremely difficult to do that. And so in these times of stagnancy, do what you can with what you have, beloveds. If you've made your plans of relocating to Kenya or Ghana or whatever, but the money that was coming, all of a sudden there's a hiccup, and you don't have, you really feel like you're stuck, there's nothing you can do, there is something you can do. Continue to build those vision boards. I'm serious, beloveds. Even if it's not a physical vision board, continue to see yourself there. Continue to feed the dream in earnest. Because you must know, and that's why the inner work is the most important, that what you create with a pure heart must come to pass. And this is what Babylon knows, and that's why they love to create this double mind. They absolutely love for us to have this double mind, where we want something, we aspire for something, we feel like it's going to happen, and yet at the same time we're doubting. So use this time of stagnancy to believe harder, and it's even to go beyond belief to knowing that what you are asking for must come to pass. And then another important thing is don't hold on to the way it will manifest too strongly. Because spirit has to play through the matrix to bring us what we want because we're still attached to this physical realm and we still want things on this physical realm to a certain extent. We see our liberation or transformation within this physical realm, or we interpret our success or how everything works from how this realm has taught us. So really, really believe in it with all your heart. Go beyond belief. I even hate that I say believe because knowing is more powerful, and we need to be in knowing. Get to the point of knowing that things must change for you, and use that time to work on yourself, to learn more, to meditate more, to become, more free of your negative vibe, so that you're bringing less and less of that lower vibing part of yourself into your paradise on earth, into your new wonderful, amazing experience. Until next time, tuko pamoja.